Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Saturday morning to you all. Hope everyone is doing well out there this morning and having a great start to your day and a great start to your weekend. Here to give you some updated information on what's going to happen weather-wise for your Saturday. We'll extend it a little bit into our Sunday and Monday also for certain areas of the country. We'll speak on a lot of moisture in the deep south, the Gulf states, the last stages of this winter weather event that's affecting areas of like New York City, Long Island, southern New England this morning. And then we'll speak on a Pacific storm that's already beginning to move into the western states. We'll get rounds of rain and higher elevation snow throughout the weekend into early next week for certain areas out west. So we'll get pretty detailed on that, a little bit more detailed than we typically do for our folks out west. But I got you covered for sure. And then at the end of the video, we'll have a brief segment on our next storm system we're watching. There's a lot of question marks with this one, and I'll show you exactly what I mean because the GFS and the Euro do not agree with one another on the structure of this system, how strong it will be. But I will say this system has a bit of a high ceiling to it. So we'll speak on why, and we'll break it down for you folks at the end of the video. But we'll get much more detail on this system as we get over the next couple days and just get a little bit more model agreement with it. I will tell you, I'm not going to have a video this evening. Got some plans going to a college basketball game. Only the second college basketball game I've ever been to ever. So looking forward to that. And just with soccer today also. Just going to be a busy afternoon, evening. So I won't have a video this evening. We'll probably get back to our normal routine of things starting tomorrow with the two-a-days if it's needed. You know, it's not always needed. For you new people, I don't always do 2 videos a day. I do it when it's pretty active, and especially when we're having model disagreement so close to storm signals, systems. I gotta stop saying signals. Storm systems. When they change so much in like a 6 to 12 hour period, I feel like I need to jump on here and give you guys updated information. That's why I make those 2 videos a day. A lot of times is because we have so many changes in a very small window of time, and I think it's important to get you guys updates. So, anyways, I will speak on you folks in Canada too. There's going to be another snow event for areas of like Newfoundland, so I will speak on that. I'll have a segment for that. It'll probably be combined with the Northeast segment. So, anyways, I'm kind of rambling this morning. If you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put those in the comments below. Let's get rocking and rolling. So we see what's going on right now. We got the snow flying around across areas of southern New England. It's starting to head out of the mid-Atlantic. Weird system, guys. And, you know, a lot of people overachieved. St. Louis is a big one that overachieved. Got a few more inches than what was forecast. I haven't heard much about the mid-Atlantic. I think the D.C. area did not get as much as what was forecast. I heard there was a pretty intense band. It really started, I would say, all the way back from like Indiana to Ohio, and it moved pretty much west to east and crossed Ohio through Pennsylvania, all the way through the central sections of New Jersey. And I'm pretty sure whoever got hit by that band got about 6 to 10 inches of snow at least. So, you know, there's going to be areas in like central New Jersey. I mean, even like Pennsylvania that I think basically what I'm trying to say is I think there's going to be a narrow band of much higher snow once we get all the final tallies of how much snow we got with this system, that we're going to see somewhere in Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, maybe even Indiana. I think there's going to be a narrow corridor that separates itself from everybody else. So I'm very interested to see what we see later on today when we see these final tallies for sure. So, but the rest of the country, the deep south, we're getting a lot of rain. If this could just move a little bit further north, there's enough cold air that's kind of surged down to the south. We could get some winter weather, but high pressure, intense high pressure with all this cold air that's really dove into the eastern U.S. is really suppressing this energy. That's why this is moving more so, you know, I would say west to east, and I think most of the rain will be confined to southern areas of the deep south. Got a little bit of snow flying around across the southern high plains. We got the lake effect snow across the Great Lakes region, and this is the moisture that has already began to move into the northern half of California, areas of Oregon and Washington State. Storm Prediction Center today, we could get some thunderstorms in Northern California, and we could have some thunderstorms in southern sections of Florida. You remember yesterday I was talking about how I really thought we were going to get some hailstorms in Arkansas, and why they didn't pull the trigger on a marginal risk? Well, they ended up doing that several hours later after I dropped that video, and sure enough, we did end up getting hailstorms. I thought that was a weird miss initially by the National Weather Service, and that's not a knock on them. I just thought that it was, in my opinion, about plain as day that we were going to have some some hailstorms in Arkansas yesterday, and we did, and it was some weird weather in the state of Arkansas and Missouri. We had thunder snow, excuse me, losing my voice. We had thunder snow in St. Louis. We had some thunder sleet in areas of like Missouri. Definitely a dynamic, quick-hitting system, that's for sure. We look at the excessive rainfall outlook. Rain's going to start to add up in the northern California coastline up here. So, we do have that slight risk, which means there's at least a 15% risk of flash flood guidance being met within 25 miles of any given location. Watches, warnings, and advisories. We have, just a slew of flood watches up for California. Winter storm warnings up for the higher elevations. We're continuing our winter weather advisories in Colorado, a couple counties in New Mexico with the snow flying around. And then we still have the lingering winter storm warnings that will get dropped pretty quick later on this morning. We might hang on to winter weather advisories for a time for later this afternoon. But, even after this system moves in, we're going to talk about this for the Northeast. We're going to get some snow squalls to definitely, affect areas of northern Pennsylvania and just about almost the entire state of New York, and even get into Vermont and New Hampshire. So we'll speak pretty heavily on that. But moving into the southeast forecast today, we got a little rain that's hugging the Gulf coastline of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida. We do have some moisture up here in central Alabama where there is some cold air nearby. You guys will have to let me know if you're seeing any sleet pellets mixing in with this rain kind of up here near Birmingham. Cold air is surging in. In fact, Alabama, there's a pretty distinct temperature gradient between the northern half and the southern half of the state. But the moisture will continue to kind of spread in if I can get this thing in motion here. We're getting a little bit deeper into this morning. Rain will begin to take over most of northern Florida, the panhandle of Florida, even the southern counties of Georgia. By the time we start to get into this afternoon, you got an all-out moderate to even at times heavy rainfall ongoing across areas of just northern Florida. I don't even think a lot of this will even make it into southern Florida. But, as we get into this evening, we even could get some thunderstorms down here. But this is basically just a shot of rain that's just aiming directly towards the northern peninsula of Florida. I know the Daytona 500, I believe, is tomorrow. I don't keep track on NASCAR a whole lot, guys, to be honest with you. Nothing against it. Just don't. It's just not my cup of tea, I guess you would say. I'm more of just a football, basketball, and baseball kind of guy. But as we get later into this evening, rain will continue. A lot of people are wondering what about the forecast for tomorrow. We'll extend this a little bit further out, but you just continue just to get a lot of rain. I mean, even to midday Sunday, it's still raining for pretty much everybody in Florida. The panhandle, I think, will begin to dry out somewhat. By the time we get into tomorrow afternoon, the end is in sight, but the damage is already done. You've already dealt with rain all day at that point. So you are literally going to have a weekend just full of rain if you pretty much live in this area right here of Florida. The entire weekend is just going to be rain. It's literally, there's going to be some areas where it literally rains every minute of this weekend in Florida. And just between now and tomorrow morning, you're going to get an inch and a half of rain right here in these sections right here of Florida. We'll extend this all the way out through the rest of the weekend, all the way to Monday morning. Just a soaker, just directly aimed towards the state of Florida. I mean, anywhere, Jacksonville, I think you'll escape, the kind of the highest amounts of rain. But even Jacksonville, I think you'll get an inch and a quarter, maybe inch and a half of rain. But you head on down south to these areas right in here, Orlando, you're going to get about 2 inches. But between Orlando and Jacksonville, this will be the heart of it right here. Tampa Bay, 2-3 inches of rain expected. A lot of rain in these areas for sure. Just a soaker for Florida this weekend. I hate it for anybody who had any plans out there. I know there is a lot of people that probably had plans for the Daytona 500, but it certainly is going to be highly affected by a lot of rain. Up here in the areas where we're just talking about snow, struggling to talk this morning. I don't know why. It is snowing pretty good, up here still in certain areas of the Northeast. In fact, we'll pull out the radar for certain areas, and let's see if we can, let's see, gonna do this on the fly. Let's look at New Jersey. Let's see where the snow is right at this moment. And we're getting one last band that's kind of moving through, but I think we'll be dealing with a lot of snow. I wouldn't say a lot, but we're going to be dealing with some light to moderate snow kind of in this area right in here for probably the next few hours. But look how dynamic this is. You got lightning strikes off the coast of New Jersey and the Delmarva and southern New England. It tells you how dynamic this is. But we had a very intense band of snow that moved through a few hours back, right in this area here of like New Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania, and I think some areas jackpotted. I'm interested to hear. I saw one report where somebody, I think in like central New Jersey, or either I think it was maybe extreme eastern sections of Pennsylvania, picked up like 5 inches of snow in 1 hour. So it really tells you how intense the snow was for a period last night for sure. But we'll continue to look at the rest of the forecast of this area for today, and this snow I think will taper off in like the New York City area sometime around midday, but you're still going to be dealing with these kind of intermediate snow showers, and some of them can be bursts of heavier snow. I mean, look at the snow kind of flying around in southern New England, still Long Island. You still got snow up here in Vermont, New Hampshire, and this will just add additional totals. And there's some Arctic air in place now, so anything that does fall will not have really any trouble at all accumulating. And, this will be flying around. We could get some heavier bursts of snow into Boston later on this afternoon. Even New York City could see it. And then, I mean, look at all these darker, you see these darker shades of blue? These are kind of lake-enhanced snow streamers that are just flowing from the northwest to the southeast throughout sections of New York State, even Pennsylvania. And these snow squalls could create brief whiteout conditions, could disrupt travel. So if you're traveling through this area today, you'll probably be able to see these kind of snow squalls actually coming. It'll probably just look like a white area moving right towards you. And I mean, we could see it also in areas of, New Hampshire, southern sections of Maine. And we're just going to see definitely just a wintry day up here in the Northeast for sure, depending on your location. I do think by the time we get into this evening, kind of the widespread nature of the snow will taper off, but we'll continue to deal with some lake effect snows off Lake Ontario, even Lake Erie, places like Syracuse, even north of Syracuse into the Tuck Hill Plateau will continue to pile up with the heavy snow. And then by the time we get into tomorrow morning, another area of light snow will begin to overspread the Northeast. And, we'll take it all the way out into Sunday. Look at this big lake effect snow band coming off. You definitely got a solid lake-to-lake connection from Superior to northern Michigan to Huron, all the way out into Canada. It looks like an epic lake effect snow band right into here. And the flow just kind of changes. You get into tomorrow afternoon, it shifts more so kind of out almost the west-southwest and begins to move to more so the northeast. So you get this band that's kind of, the orientation of it's definitely shifting in this area. It's kind of hitting the Tuck Hill Plateau pretty good, and maybe even Buffalo as we're getting into tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. Definitely a wintry weekend across the Northeast for sure. And, you look at the snowfall between now and the next 24 hours, and Tuck Hill Plateau right in here, just north of the area, definitely several inches of snow, probably someone's probably going to get over a foot right up here. Watertown's probably going to get a good bit of snow. Areas of Buffalo and surrounding regions, several inches of snow, but you could get just dusting amounts throughout this main corridor of snow, throughout the, areas of the Northeast. You could get just trace amounts, a few tenths of an inch of snow. Someone could get a brief inch of snow from some of these snow squalls in these areas. And just to kind of zoom in to the National Weather Service, the graphics between now, between now and 1 a.m. Monday morning, they're going from around 6 to 8 inches of snow in Buffalo, Rochester 4 to 6. Look at the Tuck Hill Plateau getting anywhere from, I would say, 6 to 12 inches of snow. Watertown 12 to 18. So, winter's in full speed up here. It's just there's a lot of areas to the south that, are just not getting any winter weather, which, it's in the south. You don't expect it. But up here, it's all out winter. You're starting to add up them tallies again after, a brief break in a period where you just weren't getting a whole lot at all. So let's move to Canada. The same system that brought the snow for areas of the Ohio Valley into the mid-Atlantic over the last 24 hours. It's going to move out into the North Atlantic, and we could get a little bit of snow. This is getting into this evening. This is a quick moving storm. You can see it. There's Nova Scotia right here, and this is moving through. And why can we not get this in motion here? Let's get it going. All right, there we go. We're getting into later this evening. Some light snow is certainly possible in Nova Scotia to Cape Breton Island. I don't think much will get to Prince Edward Island. But it's really what I'm watching for here is Newfoundland. As we're getting into the overnight hours of tonight, and then we're getting into tomorrow morning, we're going to get some heavy snow that moves in probably after midnight into southeast Newfoundland. St. John's, you guys are going to get hit pretty good. What is that? I think it's pronounced the Avalon Peninsula. Pretty much everybody out there in this region is going to get probably several inches of snow. You're probably going to get, I would say, 10 to 20 centimeters of snow, I would bet, maybe more. We just heard a sneeze. That was my wife. Bless you. But, you guys could certainly get some snow even outside of this peninsula region here, a little bit further up into Newfoundland, could get some snow also. But I definitely think the heaviest hit areas are going to be like the city of St. John's and everybody out here in this region. You guys are going to start getting some really heavy snow tomorrow morning, and this will last through tomorrow morning. And I think by the time, this is just a quick hitting storm. By the time we get in probably into like Sunday, probably Sunday evening, this system's pretty much done. Now, here comes another system trying to come up. This will probably deliver some light to moderate snow as we're getting into Sunday night into Monday morning across Nova Scotia. And then this will probably try to deliver a little bit more snow, probably into Monday for the same areas that get hit about 24 to 30 hours prior. So, there's been no shortage of winter up here, for sure. You guys have certainly had a solid winter. I don't know what it compares to average up here, but certainly a good bit. But as far as centimeters, St. John's, the European, is going for, 15 to 20 centimeters of snow. What is that, like 6 to 9 inches of snow as far as inches? So you guys, there could be some areas that get a foot of snow, 30 centimeters of snow, but not a whole lot forecast for Nova Scotia. If you extend this all the way out to about, let's just take it all the way to about Tuesday morning, I do think some areas are going to start to eclipse out here on the peninsula. Probably a foot of snow, probably that 20 to 30 centimeters of snow range. And, you look at the GFS, it's not a whole lot different, guys. They're actually pretty good agreement. It really just bullseyes this area right here in Newfoundland. So, chances to see, in y'all's case, 15 centimeters of snow, and this is in inches, so 6 inches of snow, half a foot of snow. You're on up there for, the peninsula region. You guys, are getting, pretty much an 80 to 100% chance to see at least 15 centimeters of snow. So I definitely think St. John's, let me see if I can pronounce some of these names out on here. Trepassey, St. Mary's, I'm sure St. Vincent's, I'm sure I pronounced the T name wrong, but, you guys, pretty much all these areas stand a good shot at, I don't even know what y'all would consider 15 centimeters of snow, if that's even a big deal to y'all. It's probably not. It's probably just a kind of a normal day for you folks. But I know for me, I would absolutely love 6 inches of snow. I would probably be like a kid in a candy shop for sure. But the south central U.S., we're going to continue just to get some snow that kind of drifts, but at the same time, kind of drifts southward, but kind of at the same time just kind of fall apart. We're probably seeing some snow already this morning in areas of the panhandle of Oklahoma. This will try to drift and make it to a few northern counties in the panhandle of Texas. I think I just called it the panhandle of Florida, panhandle of Oklahoma. If you guys been viewing for a while, I screw up the panhandles all the time. I know where my states are, I promise. It's just sometimes things come up my mouth that, that my brain's not telling it to. So it's just the way it goes. But this afternoon, getting into this evening, and by the time we get into this evening, guys, there's nothing to really talk about for the south central U.S. It's pretty quiet weather. Nice day. Get all the way tomorrow morning, and you're waking up to just a very nice day for your Sunday morning. Not a whole lot going on. Up here in the north central U.S., we will continue to deal with these lake effect snow streamers in the UP and Michigan. You'll probably get a little break later on today, and then kind of another shot of cool air. Cold air will move over the Great Lakes region. This will kind of wrap up your evening with some light to moderate snow across the UP and Michigan. This will dive down to the northern lower Michigan area, and then it'll cruise into southern Ontario. And then we might get a break throughout the overnight hours. And then by the time we are waking up tomorrow morning, it's full speed ahead again in the eastern UP. You guys are getting some pretty intense lake effect snows kind of wrapping through the area. And these could drift all the way into northern lower Michigan as we're getting into tomorrow afternoon. But you're definitely picking up your snows in the eastern UP after just a several week period of absolutely nothing up here. And snowfall between now and Sunday morning, a few inches of snow expected, but you extend this out until about Monday morning. It's all the way to about Monday midday. Some areas are going to get probably 6 to 8 inches of snow depending on your location, but most will just get a few to several inches of snow. Up here in the central to UP region, northern lower Michigan will get some snow also. We're going to head out west. a lot of moisture starting to move in. This will continue to take over the central and northern California coastline and pretty much get even away from the coastline and affect, pretty much everyone inland in the central and northern areas of California. Rain also, and higher elevation snow also into western Oregon. I don't think this is going to be much of an event for areas of like Washington State, but we get into this evening, the snow begins to pile up in the Sierra Nevada, and we get moisture that begins to spread into northern sections of Nevada. And then this snow will make it all the way into Idaho. Even could get some lower elevation snow with this, maybe into the valley regions of Idaho. It's very possible. Then the snow will begin to move into areas of just the northern Rockies as we're getting into tomorrow morning. And then another system will begin to overspread into the region. This could be a little bit further south, bring some rains tomorrow afternoon for areas kind of a little bit further south down the California coastline. We can pick up some heavy rains, from San Francisco all the way to LA, some gusty winds. This event will be strong, but nothing too crazy like what you saw a couple weeks ago. But we're going to get some higher elevation snow into this region too. The snow really could pile up way, way up there in higher elevation as we're getting into tomorrow evening. And this is as far out as we can go here. Rainfall between now and then, this is precipitation between now and Monday morning. A lot of this is snow in the higher elevations, but, even San Francisco, an inch and a half of rain is possible up against the northern California coastline, anywhere from 2 to 3 inches of rain. Not really much of an event for San Diego. You guys could get some rain early next week, but this weekend, I think for the most part, you'll stay dry. But the rain will inch down here as we get another system early next week that affects you guys. But I think your weekend's pretty decent here into the San Diego region, Southern California, Las Vegas for sure. But to look at the snow, you got to get way up there. It's definitely not a super cold storm by any means, but you get way up there in higher elevation, you're probably going to pick up anywhere from several inches of snow to maybe even several feet of snow. Some graphics from our friends here in the National Weather Service in California. This is one out of Sacramento, San Francisco between now and Sunday AM, so it's still raining. It's kind of storm number 1, and they kind of show that here. 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain in San Diego. You'll get more after this too, and I know this is probably pretty hard to see on your screen. It's the best graphic I could find. Snow level is going to be around 5,500 to 6,500 feet. That's why I always tell you guys, definitely stay tuned to your local people, because I definitely don't have all the snow levels memorized for every storm. It's very microclimate driven out here. So I always want to throw that disclaimer out there for you folks. But we continue to move a little bit further south. San Francisco, we've already, talked about those areas. Santa Cruz, down to Big Spur, 1/2 inch to maybe 2 inches of rain for these areas. This is just between now and Sunday AM. So, nothing too crazy. You will have a chance for flooding. But this is how much rain is expected in this area. Do we have? No, we don't. Okay, so, but, head on down here to the National Weather Service in Hanford, California. You're certainly going to get a lot of precipitation in this area. And I know this is very hard to see on your screen, but there's a kind of some known towns, some bigger towns, I guess you would say, in the Sierra Nevada, Yosemite Valley. I think that says 36 to 48 inches of snow between now and 4 a.m. Wednesday, local time. So definitely that higher elevation snow expected up here, nothing totally unusual. And then this is how much rainfall is expected in some of these areas. So, and then we head on down here to San Diego. So San Diego down here, 4/10 to 1/2 inch of rain expected. But this is between Monday morning and Wednesday afternoon. So same thing with, LA right in here is going to get a few inches of rain, but y'all's event really doesn't start until early next week. But did just want to show you this graphic. Temperatures, you're locked below freezing. In the Ohio Valley, the snow's going to have a harder time to melt. Higher sun angle will allow it to melt a little bit, even with sub-freezing temperatures. But guys, it's going to be a very chilly day all the way into the Mid-South. I mean, highs in some areas like the Cumberland Plateau might struggle to get above freezing. But a very chilly day across the Deep South. You're hanging on to kind of somewhat warmer temperatures in areas of the Southeast just because the cold air behind this cold front has not really fully got in yet. But a chilly day across the Northeast, the Great Lakes region, well below freezing up here. You're finally feeling like winter. But then we head on out to the western U.S. The Southwest, very warm. A nice day down here in like Arizona, Southern Cal, southern sections of Nevada, very nice. It's above average. So this storm system that's moving in is definitely a warmer storm system, if that makes sense. So we'll kind of wrap this up by looking at this storm system that we're seeing. So we'll start this off around this coming Wednesday afternoon. Well, watch this system right here, but it's going to be a warmer system, it looks like. This is all rain. The same areas that got snow over the last 24 hours. This is raining. You are raining as we are getting into our Thursday. But we'll have to watch this system. And then another push of cold air kind of moves in. Kind of the same timing as we saw it this past week. Well, this week. We're still technically in this week. But another drop of really cold air moves in. We got moisture, in the southeast, some rain, low right here, kind of a low right here. And then we kind of combine this southern stream and northern stream energy. And all of a sudden we have this kind of weird looking system right in here. And I think that as models are going to converge on this somewhat. But this is getting into next Friday evening. We got some heavy snow flying around the Great Lakes region. We try to combine this energy. As they try to combine, we could have another snow event next weekend for the Northeast. We really could. We got to watch the Mid-Atlantic too. And I know my folks in the Southeast are thinking, geez, I wish you would stop talking about the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Guys, I try to show love to everybody. Of course, I'm a little biased towards my folks down here in the Southeast. Trust me, I want to talk about winter weather for the Southeast. I really do. Nothing would bring me more joy than to do that. But of course, I'm not going to talk about something that doesn't look like it's going to happen. So, you don't understand how much I want to say, hey, there's a winter storm warning up for Central South Carolina, for North Carolina. You don't understand how much I want to do that. But this is just what we got. This is what the weather's giving us. So it is what it is. But the GFS showing a pretty decent winter storm. Next Saturday for New England, the Northeast, okay, and then it heads on off. And then we have to watch some energy behind that too, because this is going to be a pretty deep digging trough, a jet dip. I cannot talk whatsoever in this video this morning. I've had to stop it many times. So when this trough really digs down into the eastern U.S., we have to watch energy that kind of rounds the base of this. So I think we just got to watch a time period as we're getting later next week, into next weekend, into early the week after. But you look at the European, how does this evolve? Kind of has that same system as the GFS does, that's warmer. We'll have to watch Canada up here again with that system too. That Canada might be another topic as we get later into next week. And then it's totally different, right? You got this is it right here. It's like southern stream dominated, it looks like to me. And as usual, it jumped to the 06Z Euro. And here it comes right here. All right, 993 millibar low. This is mainly southern stream dominated. We're getting into Friday morning. Just cold enough for some higher elevation snow in the mountains of West Virginia and Virginia. And it misses New England to the south. Now, I will tell you, this is an interesting look because you got that 540 line diving down, but the surface is not near cold enough for snow in North Carolina. But we still need to watch this system. It's a totally different track. It's a faster track, one, and it's just a totally different track compared to the GFS. Okay? And we have to watch this clipper. And there, there's a clipper that kind of dives down, and I'm pretty sure this clipper that dives down is what the GFS is kind of showing that combines with that southern stream energy. It looks like here comes the southern stream energy, gone. Northern stream energy dives directly behind it, and it just does not connect. If these connect, then you probably get a much bigger system. So we certainly need to watch late next week. And, this is probably going to be a heavy topic this coming week on trying to figure out that storm signal. But, you look at the European ensemble, guys, and, we get into early next week. We get into late next week into next weekend. There's the signal for the European ensemble. This is in 48-hour periods. You got a few inch snowfall mean already for this time period for the Northeast, even a little bit for the Mid-Atlantic. And it does start in the Great Lakes region too. And, I will, show you the GFS ensemble too. And here it comes. We're going to have to switch it to, let's do it to 48-hour periods because they don't have a 2-day on the GFS ensemble. And there's a signal right there. Okay, out the GFS ensemble, which, it's kind of weird because the GFS ensemble is a little bit north and the European ensemble is south, which actually it's not weird at all. It makes sense because the European run is further south. But you can tell off the bigger snowfall mean on the European, I guess you would say the more widespread snowfall mean off the European ensemble, that you do have some members that do connect to a bigger snow event for the Northeast. So I do anticipate the European and the GFS are going to have some pretty big runs over the next several days with this system. But that is the signal for the Northeast with this next system. You know, to kind of recap this video, the Northeast is really making up for lost time with the winter weather, that's for sure. And I think they will continue to kind of score in this kind of pattern that we have for sure for the foreseeable future, to be honest. So that's all I got. Sorry for the messiness of the video. Dealing with a little bit of just clearing on my throat. I had to stop the video a lot and kind of clear my throat, blow my nose a couple times, just some nasal stuff. So, but that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll not have a video this evening. I'll talk to you guys. I'll talk to you folks tomorrow morning. Let me get off here before I tongue twist something else for you guys. God bless all y'all. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.